The public prosecutor is not a mufti, and he doesn't have the last word. He made a mistake when he dismissed the case and didn't listen to the evidence.
People do not understand what Hizbah is really intended for. People do not understand that, Islam as a religion is strong enough to be criticized, and that criticism by any person is not going to cause damage to Islam.
In Egypt, if the law contradicts Islam, then Islam will have priority over the law. I have nothing to do with the law. I mean, I can't abide by the law and dismiss the holy books. We have to do what the Prophet told us to do and reject what's prohibited. If she'd admit that what she said was wrong, then I'd drop the case and that would be the end of it. But if she clings on stubbornly, then I'll be stubborn too and stand against her till I finish her off.
Although Wash's case against Nawal was illegal, it seemed that the court was afraid to throw it out immediately for fear of public opinion. Lawyer Hamdi Asyuti volunteered to defend Nawal free of charge because he was appalled by the threat posed by the case to the human rights of every Egyptian.
This case certainly and regrettably gives a bad impression about freedom of expression, freedom of speech and freedom of creativity. So that just to discuss an idea and put an idea on trial before the judge would be catastrophic. This is a disaster.
Hamdi Asyuti is a secularist and an active human rights campaigner. It's the day of the trial, and he's on his way to brief Nawal and Sharif before the hearing. He knows that if the case goes against her today, she will not only face divorce, but ultimately a prison sentence.
I meet people every day and they ask me about the case. The problem with the general public is that they take what the papers say at face value. They don't think it through for themselves. One lady yesterday, wearing a veil, was waiting for me in front of my house till 1:30 a.m. to convince me not to defend you.
يعني أنا وأنا بسمعكم كده قاعدة كأننا قاعدة في القرون الوسطى. والله العظيم أنا مذهولة. والله كأني في القرون الوسطى. إيه اللي بيحدث ده؟ صحيح. إن أنا أكتب رأيي أو أدلي بأي رأي.
Nawal has decided not to attend the hearing. She knows her presence could inflame the crowds who gather to demonstrate whenever Islamic issues are on trial.
The problem is not religion, it's people's interpretation of it. If we continue to experience restrictions on freedom of speech, it'll become a general pattern, and that concerns me.
Freedom of speech has always concerned Nawal. 20 years ago, Sadat imprisoned her for criticizing his brand of democracy.
If they allow me in prison papers and pen, I welcome the prison. Because the problem with prison is to prevent you from paper and pen. I remember the jailer when we were in prison under Sadat. Every day the jailer comes and says to me, if I find paper and pen in your cell, it's more dangerous than if I find a gun. So a prostitute helped me and smuggled toilet paper and her eyebrow pencil. And I wrote my memoirs in prison on toilet paper with this very short eyebrow pencil for 3 months. And then suddenly, when I started writing, there is no prison. I felt I am free.
أمي هي التي علمتني أرضع. The spinal column that has held me up was built on what my mother said when I was young. Throw Nawal in the fire and she will come out unhurt. After hearing that, I could walk into danger with a brave heart. Maybe that is why I was able to escape death more than once.
Over the years, Nawal's confrontational approach has alienated not just traditionalists, but also other liberal thinkers. Her uncompromising spirit was forged here in the Nile village of Kafratala, where she grew up. But why was she so different from her contemporaries?
I am inspired by my life. What faced me, the obstacle that faced me and was about to kill my career. Early marriage. When I was 10 years, they tried to marry me off.
Nawal wanted me to meet her cousin, who's exactly the same age.
This is Zainab. تعالي يا زينب. تعالي يا زينب.
But Zainab didn't want to talk in front of the camera.
She was brilliant. And I remember she was writing her name, Zainab Abdel Halim السعداوي will be a great woman, you know? You see?
And so you were in the same class?
Yes, and she was brilliant. And we were dreaming, both of us were dreaming to be something. I was dreaming to be a writer. She was dreaming to be a professor. And you see what happened, that her father took her off from school and married her off when she was 11.
Nawal refused an early marriage. Her parents let her stay in school, and she qualified as a doctor. But like all Egyptian girls of her generation, and 97% of them now, she was circumcised. After she was made Minister for Public Health in 1966, she became the first Arab woman who dared to speak out against female circumcision. As a result, she was sacked from Nasser's nationalist government.
I don't have power. I don't have money. This is my real power. The readers, I have thousands of readers all over the Arab world.
Nawal El Saadawi has a great influence on many women who are active now. I personally know that Nawal has a print on my formation as an activist and my interest in women's rights. Sometimes she's shocking, and your first reaction to a shocking matter is not agreeing with. Usually you try to find something against it, but you have to think. That's what Nawal makes, actually. She makes you think about things that you haven't been thinking before.
I wanted to make a library, a small library for the girls here. Languages, here science, here history.
Nawal has built the library on the roof of her father's old house. He was a progressive Islamic scholar who, unlike many fathers in the village, encouraged his daughter to be a free thinker.
My father used to tell me, you have to debate, to discuss with me. Don't obey, because obedience will kill your creativity. That's my father. Even he told me you have to discuss with God. He was very liberal in relation to religion.
But in modern Egypt, discussion is no longer tolerated about Islam or the institutions of the state.
Paper proprietor, of course, concerns with the intellectual climate, but again, most of what I would worry about would be the government. Certain areas that there's a growing intolerance on all fronts. It's political frustration. And yes, intolerance. But I find it coming from different political factions as much as I do from the Islamic front.
Wherever you go in Egypt, people are frustrated with 40 years of military rule, and they seem to have lost faith in any opposition except that provided by Islam. When I interviewed Nawal 10 years ago, it was the armed militants who were trying to Islamize the state, but they lacked popular appeal. Now, many see a subtler brand of conservative Islam as a genuine alternative to democracy. Egyptians are also angry with the West, alienated by American hardline support for Israel.
There's no doubt that the anger